lot going on with UFOs today, so let's talk about it. Get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I'll talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Yeah, of course, everybody's talking about the upcoming UFO hearing in the House of Representatives. Among them are Tim Burchett, Roth Coulthart, and Rear Admiral Tim Gallaudet. And we'll hear what they have to say in a lot more. So let's dive right in. Here's what Tim had to say.
I think we're going to learn some things. It's peeling back the layers of an onion. The one thing I think that will happen eventually is President Trump will move towards total disclosure. And that's what's going to have to happen, because it's just going to be some person's word against another. And, you know, we have these government bureaucrats who keep saying that they don't exist, or as you quoted the one just then, saying that we misinterpret. Well, they're misinterpreting then, because their own people are saying we don't know what the heck these things are. And the best pilots in the world that are our pilots are telling us these things are flying in close proximity to their aircraft. I had one tell me this thing flew 14 feet away from my canopy, and he held up his hand like that as it is to mimic where it was. So, and then we have these bureaucrats arrogantly tell us that we don't know what we're talking about, and then when we ask them about specific instances like the one you're showing right there, they look down at their papers and say, we have no information on that. So it's a completely compartmentalized, arrogant bunch, and I'm hoping President Trump fires a lot of people.
Yeah, well, he certainly needs to fire the likes of Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick. Of course, he's already gone, but his ilk, his kind, probably infiltrate the whole system. Hopefully the new guy, Dr. Kozlowski, will be better, and we'll hear from him later this month in the hearing in the Senate, or the briefing, whatever it is, led by Kirsten Gillibrand. We'll get our first glimpse of the quality of the new director of AARO. But yeah, Tim Burchett raises an interesting question. You know, the bureaucrats are very quick to dismiss UFOs, saying, you know, we don't know what they are, but they always seem to know what they're not. Right? They're very definite, or at least Sean Kirkpatrick was very definite that they were not ET. So, yeah, hopefully the new guy will be better. And as Nick Pope says, disclosure is a process, not an event. So I think this next hearing may or may not be gangbusters, but we'll get something. It'll keep the conversation going, and it'll certainly help to spread public awareness, because Lou Elizondo and Tim Gallaudet, they may be household names to us, but they're not to the regular American or the regular citizen of the world. Meanwhile, as a possible teaser of what we might expect Tim Gallaudet to talk about in the hearing, here he is.
Clearly not an aircraft, because this individual submariner was in the 1980s operating in the North Atlantic at a deeper depth during a very significant North Atlantic storm where there's a high ambient noise level. So there was nothing this contact could be confused with. And it had all the signatures of a Russian torpedo, because it approached at a rapid rate, but then it slowed down, which torpedoes don't do. And they thought, because of its rapid rate approach, they went to crush depth. That was their SOP, standard operating procedure, because they really believed it was a Soviet sub launching an attack on them, which is insane. It was an old sub too. They were not happy doing that and not comfortable. And so his story went like that. And then, of course, this object, now it stopped and it went around to their stern and followed them, and then rapidly accelerated out of the scene.
Can you imagine being in an old sub, you're going down to crush depth, and then you've got this alien object following you? I mean, that is just like a horror movie waiting to happen. Sounds like a good horror movie. I would totally watch that horror movie, by the way. Yeah, get on that, Hollywood. But in an amazing event, right? Now, what we really need is for the captain or the sailors to come out talking about this event, showing us the sonar data and, you know, whatever else they can show us. That's what we really need, is firsthand witnesses and experiencers. And I'm disappointed we're not seeing that in the witness list so far. I'm hoping they're going to surprise us. You know, that they've been keeping under wraps some of David Grush's interviewees, some of the participants of these programs, and that they're going to unveil them at the last moment so that they don't they weren't able to be frightened away by the powers that be. But if that doesn't happen, we have a solid lineup that is going to get the word out to the American people and the people of the world, more information about UFOs and further solidify this in their minds as a legitimate thing. And that's what we really need, is to galvanize the public to then put more pressure on Congress and ultimately the president to disclose, so that we can get oversight of these programs that are doing God knows what. Well, we know some of what they're doing. But yeah, so is that what Tim is going to talk about at the event? I don't know, but Tim has been saying that Arrow is leading a disinformation outfit. Here he is talking about the Chris Mellon op-ed and Arrow's reaction to it under, of course, the lovely Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick.
And I asked him, what did you think of Chris Mellon's article? And they told me he was off the mark and in more colorful language. And I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you. And they defended their approach. And it was clear to me this was part of their overall, we know this, disinformation campaign against people like us who are coming out to advocate for UAP disclosure.
There you go, Tim Gallaudet, not mincing words, that Arrow is running a disinformation campaign against people trying to provide disclosure. So, yeah, we'll see what Tim has to say. We'll see what Mike Gold, the NASA guy who also worked with Bob Bigelow, has to say. Could be juicy. He's a pro UFO guy, but is he an experiencer? Does he have any direct knowledge of any of these programs or these events? I mean, I guess we'll find out. So far he's not a super sexy name, but maybe he'll be sexier once we hear what he has to say. Meanwhile, one thing I hope they don't do too much is lean on the threat narrative. I'm worried about Lou, especially doing that, because he has before. I love Lou. I'm not anti-Lou or not at all, but I am wary of the threat narrative, because the UFOs, if they wanted to wipe us out, they could have wiped us out a long time ago. They've been here for a long time. Now, I'll give Stephen Greer a lot of crap, and I do give him a lot of crap, because he pushes a bunch of disinformation about alien abductions, and of course, Lou Elizondo, but principally spreading disinformation about alien abductions, saying there are no alien abductions, that all abductions are caused by the military, and I've gone over reasons why that is utter nonsense many times before, which can be proven very easily with some basic research. But one thing I like about Greer is that he does have a pro-phenomenon point of view. And that is why he pushes disinformation to advance his pro-phenomenon agenda. Aliens are not bad. Aliens are good, according to Stephen Greer. Now, I think that there's a lot to the phenomenon. There are many different aspects to the phenomenon. There's infinite numbers of beings and probably races involved in what we call the phenomenon. There's different dimensions. There's all sorts of stuff at play here. So you can't say it's any sort of, one thing, right? But there is enormous light in it. There is enormous love in it. And here Stephen Greer is giving one example of that.
What's beautiful is that the medical technology of the ETs, it's using these transdimensional fields to heal and do amazingly beautiful events at our trainings. We don't have time to go into it, but there is a young woman, the most wonderful, brilliant, sweet, spiritual person, who since age 17 has had metastatic bone cancer and is now 24, and it's going everywhere. And so she came to the training a few days ago up in Oracle, and we asked the ETs to come in, and I looked over by her and I saw this little guy, but not 3D, but sort of like a holographic, subtle energy. And I said, well, there's an ET right by you. She went into a state with one of our other team members assisting, where she was taken on a craft in her spirit body, and they did all this work and were trying to clearing the cancer and her neck was completely frozen. She couldn't move it because the cancer had gotten into all the bones of the vertebra, and it was just all grown in there. She got back from this experience, I guess it was a half hour or something, and she's moving her. She's, I've been she's totally fine with that. And so they're trying to work on her. So we had that just happen a few days ago.
So that's an amazing thing. I hope that they cured her and that she's doing well now. They have certainly cured other people. Now, you may ask, Jack, why do you believe this story when you don't believe Greer on other matters? Well, go watch Preston Dennett's video about UFO healings, where he goes through an hour of different accounts. And this is just, what he can cover in an hour. Different accounts of UFOs healing people. It happens again and again and again. I've had my own healing by way of the phenomenon, although it wasn't obviously UFO related. It was during an ayahuasca ceremony. So I know the power of the healing of the greater phenomenon, as I call it, of which the UFO phenomenon is certainly a part, a very important part. So I do believe Greer when he talks about the good stuff. And I think that's why he pushes the disinformation about the alien abductions, because he wants other people only to be focused on the good stuff. So yeah, there you go. That's why I hope they don't lean into the threat narrative too much, because there is so much enormous joy and wonderment in love in the phenomenon. Obviously, not on every occasion. You can't paint this all with a single brush. Meanwhile, check out this cool UFO video from Think Tank, or shared by Think Tank, I should say. Yeah, what is this thing? Is it a balloon? Is it a bird? Wait, it's got pulsing lights on it. I don't think that's a plane, guys. I mean, it's red and green, but it doesn't look plane-like to me. So let me know what you think this intriguing object is. I think we might be looking at a genuine UFO sighting. It'd be better if it were going up and down and performing crazy maneuvers. It's just going in a straight line as planes do. So, this could be more solid, but it's not bad. It's not bad. I don't think that looks like what a plane would look like. But let me know what you think this thing is, if it could be explained by mundane reasons or not. There's also another cool UFO video of orbs. There you got these 3 orbs there, and then they notice a couple more. So could these be balloons? Again, I would love it if these were doing more complicated maneuvers, something that balloons wouldn't do, but they are just drifting along. And then they see those other 2 objects right there, again, just kind of drifting along. Now, if I squint hard enough, I can maybe see the clouds going in that direction, but, maybe not. But it's possible that these things are going against the wind, which obviously would be an argument against balloons. But otherwise, a pretty cool sighting. Pretty cool sighting. Let's see. We had another cool thing to go over today. A new Reddit post is saying new naval FOIA doc shows how a government panel in 1963 decided to increase stigma around UFOs after an investigation concluded that it could disrupt body politic, a policy of public education and debunking through mass media, advertising, business clubs, schools, and even the Disney Corporation. Disney was involved in pushing disinformation related to UFOs. Not cool, Disney. And of course, we know from previous reporting and previous documents released that the CIA was involved in suppressing UFO news and likely planting false news since the 1950s. And this is from the 1960s. An investigation concluded that it could disrupt the body politic. UFOs are too disruptive, guys, so we've got to tamp down on the UFO information. And we've got to educate the public that they're just all a bunch of wacky tinfoil hat-wearing conspiracists if they believe in UFOs. So yeah, since the 50s and 60s, this stuff has been going on, and it's a damn shame, guys. It's a damn shame, but that is going to come to an end. Yeah, by hook or by crook, I think that the era of secrecy is nearing its end, at least in part. At least in part. Danny Silva says the Lockheed divestment, meanwhile, story has been out for years, but there was never a nickname attached to it, as far as I know. Now, the Lockheed divestment story is the interesting story about how Lockheed was trying to get rid of one of their UFOs. Now, according to the story, there's no mention of their other UFOs, but for whatever reason, they were trying to get rid of a UFO, and Kona Blue, the project from OSAP, was going to acquire it, and they were going to study this UFO from Lockheed. Well, the CIA, intervened and intervened and blocked that acquisition of that UFO, which is too bad. Of course, if that had gone through, then we probably wouldn't have all the information we know about Skinwalker Ranch and the information from Colin Kelleher and James Lukatsky that has really led to our current era of disclosure without, George Knapp, Colin Kelleher, and James Lukatsky and Lou Elizondo, all in a sequence of events from OSAP to ATIP and Lou coming out of the closet. We wouldn't have gotten David Grush. We wouldn't have gotten the UAP task force. We wouldn't have gotten the UAP amendment, the disclosure amendment. We wouldn't have these hearings. If James and Calm had gotten that Lockheed UFO, we probably wouldn't be where we are now. They probably wouldn't be able to say boo about anything if they had gotten this UFO. But either way, moving on with the story, Danny Silva says, the Lockheed divestment story has been out for years, but there was never a name attached to it, as far as I know. This story is incredibly interesting, and I can't find anyone that says it isn't accurate. Will he get named at the hearing? And per Matt Ford at the Good Trouble Show, the former head of the CIA Directorate of Science and Technology, Glenn Gaffney, knows a lot about the CIA UAP crash retrieval program run out of the Office of Global Access. His directorate ran the CAP. Subpoena his ass. UAP Deep Legacy Program Gatekeeper, Glenn Gaffney. So now we have one more name to add to the list of UFO Control Group members. Love it. Love it. Will they subpoena his ass at the hearing or shortly thereafter? Hey, we live in exciting times, guys, where anything is possible. Who knows? Who knows? Wouldn't that be lovely to just see the control group people raked over the coals in front of Congress on live TV? Love it, guys. All right, last but not least, check out the amazing maneuvers of this plane. This is incredible, guys. Oh, yeah, so let me know what you think about this insane plane and everything else covered today in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media. Yeah, look at that. Look at that turn. That's a crazy turn. Look at that. That's nuts. There's plenty of other videos on the channel. You can support the channel by buying a t-shirt or coffee mug or a hoodie in the merch store. Check it out, merch store link below. Or you can become a Rockstar channel member. Really love you guys. Thank you so much. Yeah, see you next time, guys. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I really want one of those jets. That is badass, guys. See you next time. Bye.